Alright, so here I've already copied the problem over to GeoGebra so that we can look at it at the same time. So I went directly to GeoGebra online to their classic. I'm going to first come over here. If you don't see this, the little triangle circle, I'm going to click that so I can hide the axes because I don't need them. I'm going to turn this to a white background, make it easier to see what's going on. And here with the magnet, I'm going to change that to automatic so I don't get locked in any points and do anything weird. All right, so now we can look at the problem. So it says Smallville is 7 miles south of Gotham. So right there's the first thing I want to focus on. If we think about what tool could I use that would separate Smallville and Gotham from each other at exactly 7 miles. And what we've used before is this idea of segment with a given length, because that length would be the distance from Smallville to Gotham. So here could be Smallville. And I'm just going to say that I want it to be 7 units or 7 miles. And there I am to Gotham. So what I can do if I want here is I can right click and go into settings. And I could change this caption and say I want that to be Smallville. And I want my label to actually be on the caption. Make sure you hit enter after you do that on the caption name. And then I want this to be Gotham. And I hit enter. And you see it goes to the caption. Okay, so I can click and drag the names so it's a little bit easier to see. And now I'm going to click X, get that out of the way. And I see I was trying to move this so that it would, what I can also do, teach you another little trick here, this text, I can pin it. See how it doesn't move then? And I can move the rest of the screen. It'll stay in that top right corner. The other thing, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm just going to close it. I don't need that view. So here's Smallville and Gotham. Now it says I want to make Will's 8 miles, exactly 8 miles from Gotham. When we think about it, he's somewhere 8 miles away. It could be to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. So I have to think about what could give me always that a distance that's 8 miles from Gotham. And we think back, oh, that's a circle. That would give us all the places as 8 miles directly from Gotham. So what I can do is I can do a circle with a center and radius because I click on my center, which is Gotham, and it asks me for my radius. Well, that would be the 8 miles to Will. And I can use that same idea from Smallville. In this case, it says he's exactly 6 miles. So a circle gives me all the places 6 miles away from Smallville. It's like the radius of that circle. Then the question is, well, where is Will then? If he's exactly those two distances away, that means he's somewhere on the edge of the circles. Well, he has to meet both of those criteria, which means that the only two places he could be would be up here. Oh, let me change to the move tool, I'm sorry. He could be up at this intersection of the circles, or he could be down here at this intersection. And if I want to mark it, what I can do is I can go to my points and go intersect. I can click on my circle and click on my other circle, and you can see there it creates point E and point D. Those are the two locations that put Will at exactly the parameters away from Smallville and Gotham. So he's either at point D or point E. That means he has to be at one of two locations. And the reason it's two locations and not one is because when circles intersect, in the way that we have here, where they're not tangent to one another, but they're actually crossed over one another, they always have to cross at 2 points. All right, so let's look at the second problem then. And again, let's clean this up, change this, get rid of the axes. Let's make this a white screen, and let's make this automatic. We can close this, get it out of the way, and our text I'm going to pin up here in the corner. All right, so here we have Sunnyvale and Bloomington are 6 miles apart. So we first need that distance apart. So we're going to create that segment. It gives us the exact distance apart, and that was 6 miles in this case. Now, instead of writing their full names, I'm just going to put I'm going to change their actual names to S for Sunnyvale, and I'm going to change the other one from B I want to make this a G for Bloomington. And close this up. And we know now that we can't be more than 6 miles, or I'm sorry, 5 miles from Bloomington and 3 miles from Sunnyvale. So again, we're going to make that circle with the radius. So Sunnyvale was 3. Bloomington was 5. So here we have that intersection again. However, we got to read the difference between this and the previous problem. And the difference between them, I'm going to use the pen to help underline it, is this not more than, not more than, not exactly, but not more than. So that's a little bit different. That means I've got to be somewhere inside each circle. So I'm looking at where are the places that I'm inside the two circles. So it's got to be inside this circle, and it's got to be inside the large circle. So the only place that happens is this intersection part, kind of like if you were making a Venn diagram. So all this stuff right here is where I would consider a possibility for making the mall. So the difference here is instead of it being 2 points, it's a whole shaded region. And that's one of the differences you have to pay attention to when reading these types of problems.